Hey there, horror buffs! Today, we're diving deep into the eerie depths of the 1980s, a golden era for horror films, especially those popping out in 3D. So grab your retro 3D glasses and let's step back in time. The 80s were a wild time, not just for fashion and music, but for horror cinema that pushed boundaries. And what better way to experience this than through the lens of 3D, a technology that added a whole new layer of chills and thrills. First up, let's talk about Friday the 13th Part 3. Released in 1983, this slasher flick took Jason Voorhees and his notorious hockey mask into the third dimension. For the first time, audiences didn't just watch the terror unfold. They felt like they were right there at Crystal Lake, dodging every swing of Jason's machete. The film's use of 3D was gimmicky, sure, but it was also groundbreaking, making it a cult classic. Next, we can't overlook Jaws 3D. Imagine this. You're sitting in a dark theater, and suddenly, a shark seems to jump off the screen and into your lap. Released in 1983, the same year as Jason's 3D debut, Jaws 3D brought the fear of the deep blue sea to the surface in a very literal way. While it might not have reached the iconic status of the original Jaws, its 3D effects created unforgettable, heart-stopping moments. And who could forget Amityville 3D? Part of the Amityville horror saga, this 1983 film used 3D technology to throw supernatural elements right into the audience's space. Ghosts, demons, and all sorts of eerie entities seemed to escape the confines of the screen, making for an immersive and chilling experience. The 80s didn't just use 3D as a tool of terror, it was an artistic extension of the decade's excess and experimental spirit. Directors and producers were eager to explore this new technology, turning typical horror scenes into visceral experiences that had viewers jumping out of their seats. But it wasn't all about the gimmicks. These films tapped into our deepest fears, using the third dimension to make the horror feel all the more real. The palpable dread of a blade swinging towards you, or the shock of a shark bursting through the water's surface, used 3D not just for a jump scare, but to pull you into a fully realized world where the terror was as real as it could get. As we wrap up this creepy journey through the 3D horror films of the 1980s, it's clear that this era left an indelible mark on the genre. These films remind us that horror is not just about seeing, it's about feeling as though you're part of the terrifying tale unfolding before your eyes. Thanks for joining me on this nostalgic, spine-tingling trip back to a time when horror jumped off the screen and right into our nightmares. Until next time, keep the lights on and keep watching. Who knows what might pop out at you next?